Hi everyone and welcome to the Pearlie Cute channel. I've been gone for a little bit of time. I'm really sorry. I guess like many people, June has been quite a tough month and I just really haven't felt like filming at all. But hopefully I'm back on track now and I can feel a bit more like myself and I can do what I love. Also, before we start anything, I just want to say, small disclaimer, if you hear children screaming, it's because they're outside screaming. So I'm really sorry for any like weird background noises you hear. So earlier on in the month, I assume people saw the collaboration that was going on between a lot of black lolita YouTubers, and they asked me to join in as well, which is why I'm back, let's not lie. They really gave me the motivation to get back. And obviously I said yes. I think it's a really good thing. I've talked about being black and wearing lolita before, and we don't have a lot of representation. The more representation we have, the better. I'm gonna say that most people who are watching lolitas on YouTube have probably already watched at least some of the videos in the collaboration, if not all of the videos in the collaboration. And they're a really good representation of what it's like to be black in different areas and everyone's different experiences. I was quite intrigued that a lot of them are American, and their experience that they've had in America is very different to the experience that I've had in the UK. I've had a very like overwhelmingly positive experience. I think people are just so overwhelmed by me wearing lolita that they really just can't even, they're like, oh, weird, they can't even think black. So yeah, it's a very different atmosphere here, I would say. Not only less racist, but just different. I think we have more of a culture of alternative fashion in the UK than in the States. I don't know if that contributes to it at all, but I think alternative is such a bracket here. Like we are where like punk came from and stuff like that. Like we have Camden, which is where a lot of punk things are, and I think people just kind of put you into this alternative box no matter like what you look like or whatever. It's all about how you dress. Anyway, please go and watch theirs. So if you want to find those videos and watch them, and I highly suggest that you do, just type in kawaii melanin collab and it will come up with all the videos. On top of that, another video that I highly recommend that just came out was Tyler's fat shaming video. It was a really like good insight as to why people get fat and why fat shaming just does not help. It's such a toxic thing that we do, and I think a lot of people think that they are doing a service by doing this, but as someone who has also I have never had an eating disorder myself, but I have suffered with my body image, and I have had like kind of bouts of disordered eating in the past. A lot of it spoke with me. So definitely like recommend checking that out. It's a long video, but a really watch. It's a really good watch. So with that long intro aside, today I am participating in the Kawaii Melanin collab and doing part 2 with everyone else. This episode comes out today, July the 4th. Which is not today for me. It's still June, I'm living in the past. I'm really getting sidetracked. But today is all about the good. We're trying to talk about the good today. As I said, June's been really hard, and I think, yeah, we definitely need some positivity. Let's have some like good vibes going into July. So without further ado, let's get into it. How do I maintain confidence? It's by knowing that I just look better than everyone else. I'm the worst. It's a joke. Okay, well, it's kind of not a joke. It's like half joke. I know it sounds really bad, but I definitely get a lot of confidence when I go out and I see people dressed in normal clothes. And I think to myself, wow, Sarah, you've really like stepped out of the box and you're really like dressing how you want to dress and you look so good doing it. And genuinely, like, that is where I get a bit of my confidence from, just knowing that I'm really doing what I want to do. And a lot of people don't have the courage to do that. And so I guess I kind of give myself like a little pat on the back, because I actually have managed to put the clothes on and actually step out my house and do something, which I think is such a feat in itself. And I know you probably shouldn't like compare yourself to other people, but it does give me a little bit of confidence. And maybe it doesn't like give me like long-term confidence, but it definitely gives me a quick boost. Oh gosh, yeah, especially like when I'm on the train or something and I'm sitting there and I'm all like kawaii-fied and I just look so, I just know like I look good. And I'm like, you all wish that you could be me. I'm a horrible person. Look, okay, if you don't think that way, then you're lying to yourself. Please make me feel better. Apart from that, in terms of maintaining confidence, I actually find it quite hard to do that. If I haven't worn lolita for a little while, it actually gets harder and harder and harder to wear it. I mean, like outdoors. Like if I haven't worn lolita outside, so I don't know what just happened to me. I also find that if I haven't worn lolita for like a really long time, then I start to like think about all the bad things that could happen if I do wear it out. And that like really puts down my confidence. But I've also found that confidence in lolita is also kind of like maintaining fitness. If you don't exercise for a little while, you lose your fitness level, but as soon as you start working out again, you actually gain it faster than before. And I think it's the same with confidence in lolita. Once you stop wearing lolita, you become less confident, but as soon as you wear it out again, maybe like once or twice, you're like, this is all good, I remember this. To relate better to the question and to talk specifically about being a black lolita, I would say that a lot of the confidence that I get is through letting my blackness shine through. When I first started lolita, I would follow a lot of makeup tutorials made by girls who were Asian or white, and those just don't look good on black lolitas. The colours that they use and some of the styles that they use just don't really like translate very well to black features and black skin, and so I never looked good. But instead of like trying to conform to all of that, I realised that it was really important to kind of take my inspiration from people who looked like me. And once I started doing that, I realised that I looked so much better. Once I started embracing who I was completely, I looked and I felt so much better. I felt like me, I felt like myself, and it made me happier. It made me feel like my style was my own and I wasn't just copying other people. I incorporate a lot of black hair and beauty styles into my look. Instead of wearing those like kawaii eyelashes, I kind of go with fuller wispy ones. When I'm not wearing a wig or hair extensions and a clip-on fringe, I do my edges and I wear my hair in curly girl styles. And I think by doing this, I kind of breed some kind of pride in myself, and I feel that like I'm really being true to who I am and not just copying like what other people from other races are doing. Natural hair is quite a hard one actually, because I found that even though it looks great in person, sometimes it doesn't quite translate well to camera, and I'm still not sure why. But sometimes when I take pictures when I have my hair naturally, it just doesn't quite work as well in pictures. It's full enough. I really don't know what it is. So I found that just like leaving my hair out doesn't quite work well with lolita. I don't really like to do that with my hair anyway. So in terms of styles, there's so many. There's so many. I take inspiration from a few different places. I go on Instagram a lot and look at loads of different like just like black hairstyling things, like just random videos where people are just styling their hair. I look at black kids hairstyles because they're kawaii. They use a lot of things like beads and bubbles and things like that, and it's really like youthful and cute, and I like that energy. So I look at those hair tutorials and then I get jealous because these children are doing their hair themselves and it looks so good. And I'm like, why am I not as good as these 5-year-old kids?
Whatever.
But then I also look at, weirdly enough, Lolita models and like Lolita brand photo shoots, because a lot of the time these models will be put in wigs that have very like puffy hair, very like curly puffy hair, and they will have styled them in ways that really looks really nice with the Lolita. And so whenever I come across any of those, I just quickly save them, and I try and emulate them with my own hair. Obviously a lot of them have straight bangs and then like a curly hairstyle, so I will put in my straight bangs as well. Doing that and like doing all those things creates some really interesting hairstyles and creates some very different looks, looks that other people just cannot achieve. And it's really great, but it's also very time consuming, so a lot of the time I will just put on a wig if I can stand it, and usually I can. I also, in lieu of a fringe, give myself some framing twists to frame my face. I think it just helps to like add a little bit to the front of your hair, because obviously straight cut fringes are very common in Lolita, but I mean you can do it with black hair, but I don't want to chop my hair off. I don't want to cut it. I've talked about this quite a few times, so I'm not going to go into it again. I'll go into it very briefly, but I did know about the fashion for a little while, just very like, because I'm a filthy weeb, let's not lie, I'm trash. So I kind of knew like ish about the fashion that was out there that was weird and people dressed weird and like, but it wasn't until I watched Princess Peachy's videos that I decided that it was something that I wanted to do. So that's how I really like, that is really what piqued my interest in the fashion, and made me want to wear it as well. Thanks, Princess Peachy. I'm not gonna lie, but being black has definitely played a big part in me modeling for some Japanese brands. I have been told by certain brands that they picked me because they wanted to show that their clothes could be worn on a diverse range of people, which sounds really bad. But only if it was a Western brand. I really give like Asian brands a lot of slack because they don't really have the same kind of racial history as we do. Everyone in Asia is Asian, well, everyone. And so they don't really have this idea of like diversifying and like adding diversity to the workplace and things like that. It's just really not on their radar. So I feel that when a brand really wants to like have a range of different models, it's because they truly believe that Lolita is for everyone. And so I think it's a really good thing. Also, I get to model for them, so it's positive all around. I think I was quite lucky because I never really had any fears surrounding the colour of my skin. But then I guess you should take that with a pinch of salt. Because the reason I felt that way was due to my own internalized racism at the time. I had been brought up in a predominantly white environment, and so I just kind of didn't really see myself as black. Like I was like
it was like dark, but like it wasn't like black, guys. Like I'm like half white, guys.
So I just kind of was like, oh, well, I'm not like other black people, and just kind of suppressed everything to do with my blackness. I just completely suppressed that in me, and I just tried to live as white as possible. Ooh. I really don't like get my thinking from back then, because I'm clearly not white. But that is how I felt back then. So As much as that was a bad thing that I really had to work through, and I have worked through it and I have come through the other side and I'm a completely different person now. Please don't unsubscribe, I'm a different person now. But by the time I evolved and transitioned to not racist, oh it sounds so dumb, but it's a thing. By that time I was fully integrated into the Lolita community, so it was kind of a blessing, but in a very roundabout way. And honestly, by this point, I had just worn Lolita way too much to even like consider that like I might be slightly outcast because of my race or misunderstood because of my race or anything, which is quite funny because at the time that I was getting into Lolita, there was a girl in our community who was racist and no one knew, and then one day she outed herself and she got banned, but for the whole time she wouldn't talk to me. And I just put it down to me being a newbie, but looking back on the whole situation, she talked to all my friends. That was fun. Is that it? I answered all of the questions. I did it. Yay! We did it, guys! High five! Daystar! So I hope that this gave you a little bit of insight into the good part. I mean, we didn't really leave off with the good part. Look, she got banned. She should have got punched as well, but that didn't happen. She was just ostracized from the community. Well, we win. But I do hope that that gave you a little bit of positive energy. It's really not all bad. The Lolita community will be a loving one. That's a lie. The Lolita community might be a loving one. But I do hope that this was helpful. I really highly suggest, I don't even highly suggest, I demand. I am no longer asking. I am forcing you to go and watch everyone else who has collaborated in not only part 2 but also part 1 as well. Do it now, or your brand will get muddy. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching this video, and as always, thank you for liking, commenting and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Mwah!